Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Man charged for breaking into home of St. Thomas senior citizen. The police in St. Thomas have charged 67-year-old Roy James, otherwise called Zonda, of Mammy 3, Erie Castle, with burglary following an incident in Panton Town on Tuesday, May 30. The police report that about 10:30 p.m., a 70-year-old woman securely locked her house and retired to bed. She later heard rumbling sounds inside her house and saw James standing inside her room. He allegedly removed a towel she had wrapped around her and attempted to get into her bed. The woman managed to fight him off, and he fled the scene via a door he had breached to enter the house. She made an alarm and the police were summoned. James was later arrested after being pointed out to the police by the woman. He was subsequently charged and is awaiting a court date. 3 alleged members of Westmoreland-based gang arrested during targeted operation by the security forces. 3 alleged members of a Westmoreland-based gang were arrested on June 23rd during targeted operations by the security forces amid the recent declaration state of emergency in the parish. SOEs were declared in Westmoreland and St. James on Thursday and will be in effect for an initial period of 15 days. Westmoreland's Deputy Superintendent of Police in charge of operations, Adrian Hamilton, said the cops are continuing their search for other alleged gang members. DSP Hamilton is urging alleged gangsters, some of whom are wanted by the police, to surrender. He said gang conflict in sections of the parish is being fueled by some alleged members who are already in custody.
We have about 22 persons of the particular gang that we are currently pursuing. Some have been arrested since the state of public emergency. Some were picked up. 3 significant persons in that gang were picked up during this operation, and we are going to use all the tools that are available to us to ensure that these persons face the tribunal and have their day in court. And I want to make this appeal now to the persons, and you know yourselves, some of these persons are no stranger to us or the courts. They have been charged for serious offences and granted bail, and they're out there and still committing these atrocities. And we are saying that the good people and the good citizens of this parish must prevail, no matter how long it takes. We will not be daunted. We are coming at these individuals. Like I said, all the incidents, we know what is happening. Persons have been fingered, whether you are wanted, you are a criminal suspect, or a person of interest. And that is the cohort of persons that we are going to be targeting and moving at in a very serious way for the next 14 days of the state of public emergency and beyond. So we'll not stop. We have been mostly focusing on conflict with its origins in the Savlamar space and between a particular gang that is now fragmented. And we have 2 persons who are currently in custody, and they are still influencing some of the criminal activities in the space. Those incidents that has been taking place in around the town of Savlamar, we are adamant that we are not going to allow that to continue to happen. We have arrested some persons for murder in relation to recent activities and recent crimes that have been committed up to last week Saturday. We continue to pursue some others, and we are confident that we are going to bring some amount of respite for the communities within the Westmoreland Police Division.
Jamaica still in grief. Daniel Rose's murder cannot go unsolved, Prime Minister Andrew Holness stated. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has noted that the entire nation remains in grief days after the murder of 8-year-old Daniel Rowe. Daniel was abducted from school in St. Catherine and later found with her throat slashed in St. Andrew. She subsequently died at hospital. Speaking at a ceremony on June 23rd, as the island observed National Day of Mourning in condemnation of the acts of violence meted out by children, Mr. Holness said criminals are preying on the nation's future. He appealed to Jamaicans to report what they know about Daniel's murder to the police. Mr. Holness said Jamaica cannot allow this crime to go unsolved, adding that no parent knows if their child will be hurt next.
Young Daniel Rowe, an 8-year-old student abducted from a school in Portmore and transported to Kingston, where she was found with her throat slashed. She fought valiantly to survive, but it was not to be, and the entire nation is in grief. This act, along with many other gruesome acts that have been perpetrated on our young and vulnerable. In other words, she wasn't able to help herself. She could not defend herself. By definition of her state as being a child, she wouldn't have been able to resist an adult. Our relationship is different, and this is indeed an assault on our sensibilities. It is a blot on our conscience and our social fabric. And we can't allow these things to settle in and for us to become numb to them. There must be an uprising in our consciousness, in our collective consciousness, to say, no, we must draw our line in the sand and speak up against it. Someone in Britain must have seen something. It doesn't matter how vague your recollection. It doesn't matter how you would want to say, well, it's not relevant. Whatever you recall, share it with the authorities. Young Danielle was discovered on Roosevelt Avenue in Kingston. I believe it is now called Studio One Boulevard. Hanging on to life. Her body almost drained of blood. Luckily, a good Samaritan, a member of the JDF, discovered her and rushed her to the hospital, and the doctors did all they could, and she fought and held on as much as she could. But there must be somebody who on that road would have seen something. It may not at the time be anything that would raise alarm, but it may have registered in your memory. If you saw something, please, I urge you, come forward. Remember, the person who committed this crime could very well commit another crime, and we cannot tell who the next victim could be. It could be that the person who committed the crime needs help. There must be in the society this level of concern that goes beyond talk to action. And I'm saying to our good Jamaican citizens, if you know something, take the action and share it.
Girls continue to outperform boys in PEP examination, Favor stated. As has been the case in previous years, girls continue to outperform boys in the primary exit profile PEP examination. Education Minister Favor Williams highlighted the statistics of this year's PEP result during a press conference on June 23rd. She said the girls have excelled at mathematics. They also did well in language arts. The minister noted that for science, the results for some boys were even matched with girls. She said in social studies, the gender gap was also lessened.
If you look at the overall performance, starting with mathematics and going across from beginning through developing, proficient, highly proficient. In the beginning category, 4% of the students, developing 39%, proficient 49%, highly proficient 8%, and that's the overall mathematics. We have it broken down by gender as well to allow us to see how well our girls are doing versus our boys. And the pattern is what we have observed over the years in terms of girls outperforming boys in mathematics. So that tells us that it's something we have to redouble our efforts in to bring our boys up while we continue to support our girls. In language arts overall, in the beginning category, 6.7%, developing 32.6%, proficient 54.4%, highly proficient 6.3%. Again, when we look at that by gender, there is some disparity as well between our boys and our girls. And again, it's the same message to us to redouble our efforts to bring our boys up while at the same time supporting our girls. In science, overall performance in science, less than 1% in the beginning category, 35.5% developing, 53.1% proficient, 10.8% highly proficient. Interestingly, when we look at science and you compare the gender, our boys in the highly proficient category are about equal with the girls, 11% versus 10.5% of those who are in highly proficient. In the beginning category, we do have more boys there who are beginning, who need work. In the developing category, we have 30% girls, 40.8% boys. And in the proficient category, 58.7% versus 47.8% girls. The same message for us. Social studies overall. In the beginning category, 2.7% of students, developing 30%, proficient 65.2%, highly proficient 2.1%. Again, if we look in the highly proficient category, on the social studies by gender, our males and our girls are performing almost equal. But if you look in the other categories, we can see the work that needs to be done. So if our boys outperform, they're at the same level as the girls. So that's evidence that they can outperform. We just have to give them additional support.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification